Anita Chatterjee is the founder and CEO of A-Game Public Relations, a bi-coastal firm that transforms celebrities, business leaders, venture capital firms, and innovative technology and consumer packaged goods companies into household names. A few of Anita's clients include Rohan Oza, who is a guest shark on Shark Tank, Grammy award-winning artist Neo, and Payal Kadakia, founder of a billion-dollar company called ClassPass. Welcome to the show, Anita. It's such a pleasure to have you on.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be on. I adore you, Raj, and I can't thank you enough for giving me this opportunity.
Oh my gosh, for the woman that gives people opportunities and helps to kind of, legitimize and create authority and credibility around just some incredibly iconic brands. I'm just so happy that you've been able to just come on with everything that's going on right now in the kind of awake of COVID and the lockdown globally that we're going through. And as a public relations expert, Anita, although we are globally faced with social distancing, I don't think that there's ever been more of a connective time than we have today during this crisis, whether it be politicians, industry experts, or celebrities. Everyone is taking to social platforms to stay connected with their respective communities. This is, a time when we truly do see the power of mass communications at play. So as I mentioned off the top, as a public relations expert, what have you seen to be the fundamental differences in communications in terms of strategies working with clients post-COVID versus pre-COVID?
Well, what's interesting now is that, there's a global crisis that all of my clients can resonate with. And if you have a platform, now more than ever is the time to use it to help people and share your expertise and your resources. So it's actually, I'm very busy right now and working with my clients, on their initiatives to help their partners and their organizations survive through this period of time. And at the same time, use the power of press to educate people on how to navigate this economy, on what resources are out there. Just yesterday, actually, Rohan Oza, who you had mentioned, my client, who's a judge on Shark Tank, he was on Good Morning America, sharing some tips on how entrepreneurs can get through these hard times. So if you have a platform, now is the time to use it.
Absolutely. And in your field, what is crisis management, all about right now? I mean, are you dealing with this more or less than you would normally deal with?
So crisis management is, in the PR field, is basically when we help our clients strategically handle, circumstances, in terms of helping them get out of situations. So, anything from an unkind story that's in the press about them to maybe like a product launch failure, we help them get through it. So over the years, I mean, when you have a platform, there's good and bad. So the crisis management has been a big part of my career. Right now, it's a huge part of my career, but the difference is everybody is going through it together.
Right.
So we're just kind of identifying how it resonates with each one of my clients, how it's impacting them, and what they can do with their platforms to help and impact others.
So I see that a lot of your clients are really taking to, social and to media to really help, other people navigate through, this crisis right now. And obviously, you and your team have a big part in trying to understand kind of what that story needs to be that is going out there to the public. So in this particular time, when we're talking about this lockdown crisis and all these businesses that are, massively affected, what are some of your clients doing right now? I mean, because you work predominantly with founders and CEOs.
Mm-hmm. Well, all of them, are doing amazing initiatives to help their partners get through this time. Actually, so as I mentioned, Rohan Oza, he was on Good Morning America yesterday, and he shared 3 tips that I want to share with you because I think it'll be very good for anybody who's listening, very helpful. The first thing he said was, cut your costs, but do it thoughtfully. So I think right now everybody's in panic and they're like, okay, well, we need to do a layoff or, we need to stop spending on this, but really think about it before you do it. You know, do you have to lay off this person? Can you just maybe reduce a salary? Because you don't want to lose your community and lose everything due to rash decisions. So that was one point. The second point he says was lean into digital. This is very important right now more than ever. And a lot of my clients are doing this. Vital Proteins is the US market leader in the billion-dollar collagen industry, and it has health properties that are high in demand now. So, you know, to reach their demands, they are selling online, like going through different platforms. And, you know, in doing so, they're able to still see spikes in sales. So you really need to understand the digital landscape right now and use it. And the third point that he made was, you know, now is the time to pivot. You know, companies, especially startups, they're always pivoting their model, and it's a new world. You just need to now see how your organization fits into it. ClassPass actually did this, another one of my clients, and they did it beautifully. Basically, it's the world's largest fitness aggregator. And traditionally, you would go on their platform to book classes, you know, fitness classes. Obviously, we can't go into studios anymore, unfortunately. So what the organization has done is that it's given a streaming option to all these studio owners. So now you could go online and take the class online. So that's an example of a pivot. But those three things that Rohan shared, I think they are extremely valuable for any business owner. So I wanted to share them with you. And yeah, all of my clients are doing initiatives and, you know, and pivoting to get through this time.
Absolutely. Well, you also have quite the roster of celebrity clients as well. So let's kind of, you know, shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about that, Anita. The celebrity participation online to stay connected to their respective audiences varies drastically. Some are fully focused on relief efforts and supporting their communities, and others are using this as an opportunity to sell more of their online products. Since obviously brick and mortar retail is, you know, quote unquote dead right now, what are your thoughts on, you know, some of the things that the celebrities are doing right now to utilize their, you know, very, very strong platforms and voices?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I know a lot of people have an opinion about this, and everything is case by case basis. You know, it's hard for me to make a general judgment. However, what I'm telling everybody is that it's important for all of us to keep moving forward. You know, just stay empathetic, understand that we're in a global crisis, and make sure that's always in your messaging. And as long as you're helping and not hurting, it's good if we continue on.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, you know, just for, you know, the conspiracy theorists out there who are, you know, just kind of really having a problem with the fact that some businesses are doing really well online versus the businesses that have to shut down because they're more physical entities. I think more than ever, it's important that the online businesses, you know, keep flourishing to keep our economy afloat. Otherwise, the reverberations of that are going to be seen across every single, you know, layer of society, and every single, you know, every single person is going to be affected by that. So, you know, that's kind of my take on it. And I know that it's probably not the most popular take, but I think that, you know, as a business owner myself, I really do feel that this is the time for those who are online to really push online and the access to being able to, you know, reach consumers who ordinarily won't have access to being able to have some of these products and services any other way. And for those, as you mentioned, who aren't, you know, in the online space, really need to think about pivoting online, because at the end of the day, their services are extremely crucial for the mass, you know, consumer, but also for our economy. So
Yeah. I can't agree with you enough. I mean, we can't pause, we can't stop. We just have to figure out how to pivot and adapt to this new normal that, you know, we're living in.
absolutely. So I want to also ask you, Anita, you know, online platforms really is kind of, you know, a big focus right now of discussion across every industry. Public relations expertise, how can people navigate that availability to public relations experts like yourself and, you know, other agencies out there to help them stay relevant during this time? Because I don't feel that there is a time when we've needed people like yourselves more than we do now in a situation of global crisis, you know, to be able to get the right message out there to the consumer and also to our loyal members and subscribers, etc. What are your thoughts around that?
I'm so glad that you are saying that, because I think right now people are forgetting that, there's more focused on kind of keeping their company logistically afloat, and they're forgetting about promoting themselves and getting their brand out there. But you can't go dark. It takes a long time and consistency to build a brand, which I mean, you've done a wonderful job with that. Through your previous platforms as well. Such as Inoki. Once you go dark, it's very hard to introduce yourself back into the market. So you want to stay consistent. And, like I've been kind of saying throughout this interview, figure out how your messaging resonates with what's going on out there and how you're a part of the conversation. Because, if you're out of the conversation, it'll be really hard to get back in. So now more than ever, PR is critical. It's funny because there's probably a lot of companies being like, well, we're not going to invest in this right now. Obviously, we do have to cut costs, and it's understandable if you can't afford it, but you do not want to go dark. If you can't work with an agency, make sure that you stay engaged on social media. If you do have certain initiatives you're doing, share a press release with media outlets. I mean, it's a lot harder to get through to the press, when you're not going through a publicist. But, here's the thing, they check press releases. If it's a good story, of course, they'll take it. The media is there to inform the community. So stay active.
Absolutely. So this couldn't be a more opportune time for every single human on this planet who is and has predominant access to, connectivity, to get out there, and whether it be because they themselves are going through a crisis and they want, a call to action for help, whether it is, allowing products and services to be available online to public who, oftentimes there are still a pretty huge, I would say, portion of the population globally that doesn't have an understanding for online e-commerce. Like they don't know how to go and, get their groceries online, or, or whatever it may be that are the necessities that they need to, to get a hold of. And there couldn't be a more important time than now to be connected online, to be able to figure that out. And of course, as you mentioned, as, brands, as service providers, as companies out there that are trying to stay solvent and relevant, it's important for them to just really stay out there and active and let people know that they exist, that what are they offering, what are some ways that people can communicate with them. And I really hope that people are very mindful right now to be able to get support from experts in the communications field if they themselves don't know how to do this. And I think that's kind of a really key point right now, that there's certain industries that are really needing to step up and help people out, and that's why having someone like you in the public relations industry come out and speak on how some of these things can be accomplished is really valuable right now, Anita. I really appreciate your time. And I want to kind of close off by asking you, do you have any final tips, any final resources, anything at all that you want to share just with the general mass population out there?
Like kind of what I've previously been saying, do not go dark. That's the biggest thing. Stay engaged with your community. Just be very sensitive and figure out how you fit into this conversation. Think about how your platform can help people out there and what you can offer to the situation.
Absolutely.
And that'll, help you, help anyone brainstorm, how they'll pivot and adapt to the environment. But, we all have to keep going, and you just, have to figure out how to do it.
Absolutely. And if you don't know how to do it, go out there and find someone that has the expertise to be able to do it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you could hire an agency or work with a publicist, it's always good dealing with somebody who has the experience.
Absolutely. Anita, such a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for your time and for your valuable insights. And, I look forward to chatting with you again at a time when we're not talking about this crisis because we've dealt with it, and that we're able to talk about, other wonderful, positive ways to, elevate our voice and the voice of humanity. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Raj.